Hey guys, what is up? Phoenixbomb here, and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Online character creation. This is just a quick look through at what the character creation is like on Elder Scrolls Online. Now the beta is currently running, and the NDA is off, so that's why I'm having a look. So the way Elder Scrolls Online works is it has 3 different alliances. Now all these alliances have different starting zones, and unfortunately races from one alliance, so say if you're in the Daggerfall Covenant, so you're a Breton, an Orc, or a Redguard, then you can't actually play with your friends who are in the Aldmeri or Ebonheart, and it works every way. So yeah, so that's unfortunate, but it's what they've chosen. So you know, you can work around it if you want to be. You get 3 races. Yeah, so you choose your alliance. That, apart from who you can play with, doesn't really have much effect as far as I can tell. Apart from you do well. It doesn't have much effect on characters. The story and things like the main story is the same as well, but your starting area, all your side quests and that, at least for a good while, I haven't actually gotten to a point where I share any, but there may be. But at least for a good while, you will have specific starting areas for each alliance. As for the races, now with each one, you seem to get a reasonable selection. Except my problem is, if you click on each race, then down here it will tell you a bit about the race and a bit about what sort of racial benefits they get. And obviously, like Skyrim, you can play any race with any class and it doesn't really matter. But like Skyrim, each race has its own special benefits. And so obviously, if you want to play a high elf, their magical affinity by increasing damage with destruction spells. It's not no point, but there's less point playing a high elf that's going to be like a berserker and use no magic, rather than playing a high elf that's going to be a mage. So with that in mind, if you look at the different races, you've got high elves, which are magical, wood elves, which have woodland affinity, and then Khajiit, which have natural agility. So basically, they're magic, and both of those are stealth. So it kind of cuts apart. You will notice the Imperial race down here. The Imperial race is only unlocked if you do a pre-order on the sort of Ultimate Edition, I think, or at least a pre-order of some sort. And another point to note, if you do pre-order the biggest one, the most supreme package, then you can actually play any race in any alliance. It's a bit dodgy, but yeah, it's what they've chosen to do. I wouldn't agree with it. Things to note, this is a subscription game, and there are also microtransactions, so I've heard. I've not actually come across any, but I'm sure there will be some. You can also be male or female of any race. Over here you've got novice gear, veteran gear, and no gear. It just depicts what you'll look like wearing each of the different clothes. So once you get a bit further, that might be what you get to wear. That'll probably be what armor you get in the start, and that's what you get when you're wearing no clothes. You then got a character name. Well, the character name exists across all 4, so you can choose that at any time. So we'll get back to that. As far as races are concerned, you got 4 different races. You got the Dragon Knight, the Sorcerer, the Nightblade, and the Templar. Basically, what that comes down to is smash things with swords, hit things with magic, sneak up on people, and magic and swords that heal people and then do fire damage or something. Basically, if you want to use any melee weapons, swords, big hammers, anything like that, shields, you'd usually go with a Dragon Knight if you want nothing to do with magic. Their powers seem to be more pulling people to them or running to people and smashing them, and then doing lots of physical damage, and some fire damage is quite potent as well. They've also got spells that add false armor, so you can defend yourself a bit better. Sorcerer, they have we obviously get a description here as well. Sorcerers are obviously very magic focused, and from what I can tell, a lot of it is lightning. So you got a lot of lightning spells. There are some fire bolt spells and things like that, but yeah, hurling lightning bolts and creating electric fields. A lot of what I've seen has been lightning. So if you want to do some magic, there have been some complaints about magic and sorcerers, and it's not as fun as the melee classes, but I don't know. Nightblades are obviously sneaky. They use daggers and stuff. You can't actually daggers in the starting area. You can only get hand axes. Like, you can get 2 of them, which isn't worse. But yeah, I'd prefer to have gotten daggers in the beginning, just so I can have daggers. But you usually replace your weapons reasonably quick anyway. Then they have a lot of spells. They have a tree that allows invisibility. They have a tree that allows moving. Like, there's a spell that allows you to teleport to your nearest enemy and do damage. And then there's another one that deals lots of damage, as you would expect. So there's one that allows you to do a base set of damage. And then if an enemy's on low health, I don't technically know what low health is, but I usually do about when it's about half, it will do 300% damage. And that usually takes a decent chunk out of their life. And then Templar is using swords, but also using a bit of magic too. So, and also healing people. There are actual specific staffs used to heal. They're called restoration staffs. So that might, if you're interested in being like a priest, might help you. A lot of their attacks seem to be, I don't know, false weapons. They have one that's sort of like not a javelin, a spear, like a spear that they prod lots of times. Very close combat. But yeah, I'd say if you want a mix and a bit of healing, that'd be your one to go with. Then body, obviously this is just changing how you look. It doesn't really have any effects on anything, but it is very customizable. You got this cool little triangle here, which is doing stuff. So you can move it about, get it exactly how you like. Change the height, skin color. Depending on which race you play, obviously there's a lot more variation in skin colors and all the colors you can choose. And then face, same sort of thing. Just move the triangle around to it to shape you want. You can change the voice, change the hair color, change pretty much everything again, change the eye color. You know, it's very in depth, and you can pretty much get your character exactly how you want. There's lots of facial features like head markings. So so you can change all that. There's also body markings on the past page, I think. Adornment for males is usually like beards and things like that. I got an eye patch on one of my dudes. It's pretty cool. And yeah, that's about it. Lots of customization, set number of classes, but obviously with each class there is a lot of ways to go. Like, there's skills for each weapon class, each different type of weapons, of sword, long swords, two-handed, to each hand. There's skills for each type of armor, light, medium, heavy. There's skills for your race. There's skills for soul powers. There's skills for different proficiencies, so like smelting and cooking and all things like that. I think it's called provisioning, is cooking. And then you've got the 3 base skills for each class. So that's what I was talking about before. And then they each have a tree. And you can go into all of them. It doesn't really matter because you've got to use and level up each spell and each class as is. So even though you might start in one tree, by the time you level up again, you might not be a high enough level to get the next skill, or you might not want the next skill. So you might go into a different tree. Or at a certain point, you'll have leveled your skill up enough that you can sort of augment it, and you can choose from 2 other abilities to add to it. So then it becomes a different spell, and then you can level up again. It takes a bit longer the second time. There's also passives for most of the classes, so there's a lot of choice. So if you use sorcerer, you're basically saying I want to use magic, but that's all it's saying. There's still lots of choice. You can still wear heavy armor and things like that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Now, when it comes to character name, obviously you got those different things you can do, and you've got to be creative, because every name, or at least like the first 3 names and every character I've made, I've tried, have been taken. So I was making an orc, for instance, and I was like, these are like Klingons, I'm going to name it like a Klingon. So I named it Worf. Taken. I was like, alright, I expected that. Okay, Worf, son of Moog. Taken. I was like, really? Alright, let's go a bit obscure. Kales. Taken. What? who names their character Kael'thas apart from me? But yeah, so I had to go with Kael'thas the Unforgettable, which is basically the longest title and something that not many people would know. So yeah, so you've really got to get creative. So yeah, on my Argonian, I had sort of head adornments like spikes that sort of looked like the ears from Gremlins. So I named him the Gremlin. Take him. So, you know, add hyphens, add all that if you can. Try and be original. That's basically it. Yeah, so thanks for watching. I pretty much covered everything. There's not much else to the character creation. Pretty much everything can be edited. You got lots and lots of customization is the main thing. And yeah, so thanks for watching. If you've got any other questions, leave them in the comments. I try to ask them as best I can. And I'll see you next time, and goodbye.